Hello everyone, I'm FGB and I sound like this. Now, before I get into the subject itself, I think it's important to note that I am a person who has trouble focusing. I don't have ADHD or anything, and yeah, I actually got checked for it once, but I struggle with focusing on the task at hand when I've got something that needs to be done. Maybe it's the coffee, maybe it's my natural levels of anxiety, or maybe it's the consistent habit of giving up when things get hard, to which one can become addicted. But that's a topic for another time. Maybe it's just a normal human thing that everybody struggles with. I don't know why I struggle with focus, but I do. And the most dramatic way this problem manifests itself is when I'm drawing or painting. It's very easy for me to get distracted and also frustrated because I got distracted on top of it. One thing that I used to think was a quick and dirty solution for this problem is putting on some music or podcasts so most of the outside world gets blocked and I can finally focus on the thing in front of me. But I want to tell you, and this is the reason why I made this video, that not only I realized that this is not a solution, but it actually makes the problem worse. It's a bit of an extensive topic, so I don't want to go into too much detail on this video, but I believe art is a tool for problem solving. That is the reason why most limitations usually enhance creativity. Limitation gives you boundaries and rules that you must follow in order to achieve what you want. In short, they give you a more specific problem to solve, and that allows you to switch your thinking into go mode. So I think the most useful way to think when you sit down to draw is, what is the problem that's presenting itself to me and how can I solve it? And that ends up breaking down into smaller problems like, how can I achieve this mood, or how can I make this object look three-dimensional? But as I said, that's a topic for another time. The reason I'm talking about this is because in order to achieve this kind of thinking, I believe the first and most important ingredient is focus, and it has to be total focus. Maybe you think you're able to multitask, but I assure you, if you've got that cool playlist in the background with songs you like going on, at least a small part of your focus gets stolen away. And later on, you realize you've made very avoidable mistakes in addition to the unavoidable ones. And suddenly, the act of drawing becomes trying to escape from a maze without a map. And maybe that's not your case, but I used to love listening to podcasts while I work. Now, can you imagine trying to figure out where a certain form falls into perspective while some guy keeps talking about a funny or interesting subject in your ear? When I look back with more analytical eyes, it's almost madness to me, but I understand why I did it. I've heard people talking about getting into a certain zone when they're doing something engaging, and you can see progress happening in front of you, and it feels great. But I think a lot of people also confuse that zone with a kind of trance that you can go into when multitasking. One way in which I've done this is playing video games while listening to podcasts. If you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of a comfortable trance-like state where you're only performing tasks but no abstract thought can manifest, and it feels like time doesn't exist. Yes, it is comfortable, but it is absolutely a form of running away from something. And if you do it, you need to figure out what you're running away from, but most importantly, you need to stop running away. Painting is only a mental skill. There's the famous, although possibly apocryphal, story of Frank Frazetta learning how to paint with his left hand after having a stroke. And there are very talented painters who do it with their mouths. The only difference between the beginner and the master is how they think about what they're doing. Becoming better at drawing or painting means finding the right way to think about it. Make no mistake, your focus is a valuable commodity, and other people, social media, entertainment, and all sorts of things are always trying to steal it from you. Your focus is one of the most valuable things you have. And I don't mean it in a metaphorical, poetic way. I mean it like it is, like it sounds. Hence, stop listening to music while you're drawing. At least for a while. Well, okay, so what should I do? Well, for starters, don't beat yourself up about it and become too strict about what you're doing. I think it's not possible for human beings to intensely focus on something for more than like an hour or so, but here is a thing that seems to work for me. If you pay attention to yourself when you're drawing, you'll find out that your attention levels and mental states are different depending on what exactly you're doing. That is to say, making a painting is divided into stages, and each stage requires a different level of attention. So for me, the beginning sketch phase, where I figure out where everything's gonna be and what the gesture of the characters or objects are gonna be, is the most focus-intensive part. But it only lasts for 10 or 15 minutes. And it honestly shouldn't last more than that, because if I spend 10 minutes on the sketch, but I can't find anything that I like about it, I'm just gonna be frustrated with it and I'm gonna try something else. If I do find something I like though, and if I decide that yes, this is the overall scene I'm going with, then the next steps might be more forgiving regarding how attentive I have to be. Actually, it's probably beneficial. There are many parts of painting that benefit from being less rigid and more intuitive. So if I'm doing a character and I already have a sketch, the next 10 minutes will be filling out the silhouette and maybe adding basic colors. And that's where I put some music on. It's not me taking a break from the hard stuff too. It's having a period of mental rest before doing something more complicated, because painting is never fast and there needs to be a certain variation in your states of mind, or else you risk burning yourself out. So if you find yourself frustrated at the end of every drawing and wanting to redo everything many times over with every image you make, try pacing your focus a little bit and thinking about how you're going to do things before you do them. Everyone's different, but this helped me, and hopefully it helps you. And if you find yourself in a particularly generous mood, or you just like the general cut of my jib, consider supporting me on Patreon, where you can see pretty much everything that I do for €5, including tutorials, brushes, high-res files, and more. Have a good day!